So from that on to Keith. I love this picture. It's obviously really casual, first thing in the morning, didn't really put any effort into it whatsoever. I hope it's going to be as good as this. Are you going to do it in this pose?
Maybe I'll do this.
Yeah. So
apparently I've got the Action Man beard on tonight.
Great.
And mate, where is he? There he is, keeps on saying. Bastard.
So I first met Keith actually when Keith was scanning London Road, which I knew nothing about at the time.
Yeah. And
it was one of the first 360 experiences I ever did in the dark after Peter Mandelson had been around.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
That sounds completely wrong. The context of being in the dark, Peter Mandelson.
But it absolutely blew my mind. He's going to tell. I'm sure you're going to mention it tonight. It's an incredible story. Manchester, incredible place, isn't it? When I first came here, I wasn't expecting what I saw when I looked up, and there are so many stories and so much heritage, and it's not talked about enough. So, it's a real treat.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for that. So I've known Caroline since I was a student at MMU, and yeah, I got involved in immersive tech. I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but before I start harping on about me, I'm going to just reframe everything. So the reason why we're bringing these people into this space today, because I think there's a common thread throughout, is that we're all really interested in heritage and technology. These are different technological outputs. I mean, and we'll get to hear from Iris, I'm really excited about. But these different technologies are a way for us to interpret the past and also to connect us as storytellers. And I think that's the most important thing, really. Particularly John and Juan was talking about the dissemination and the democratisation of that data and really giving people access and voices to that information we don't normally have. It's increasingly more important as we progress in whatever kind of strange time we are. We're also going to do a little Q&A at the end, and then we'll show the film that myself and John made this summer with the University of Manchester over in Herefordshire, Arthur Stone. So I'm really, really excited to show you that later on as well. Next slide, please. So this is a combination of a number of events. So just about a year and a half ago, through my own business, I ran a heritage and technology event. Juan gave a talk at that, and I was like, what should we do with this kind of space? I want to sort of make it about the communities around Manchester and different groups, and you know, and then Maria, we got talking about creating this event space of Immersive Manchester. So we started thinking about this and like how we could do something that doesn't just bring together necessarily immersive technology, but it's a bit wider as well. And I guess this is why we are where we are today. The event that we ran, the first event we ran in this space about a year ago, was Understanding the Metaverse. I can't read that text quite well in the top right. Then we did the Pioneers in XR event over in Media City. And that was really good, all female XR pioneers doing amazing work. And then obviously this is where we are today, going back to the heritage, which is what I personally really, really love. And I think it's the most rewarding and important thing. I'll get into that. Just want to say that we are in Bonded Warehouse. They have allowed us to use the space. I have to give them a little bit of a plug, and that's fair enough, because they're giving us this amazing space. If you are looking to create your own business, use it as a tech hub, then you can find out more information about what they do here. I had my own business here for a while, because it has there's nobody up there right now, lazy gets, but they do have people wandering around. It's this shared desk space, but also as you can see down here, there's all these offices as well. So if you are interested in that, then scan the QR code.
And also, if you want to sponsor us in future, we're very open to that. Just thought I might throw that in there. If you've
got any pizza money, give us some pizza money. If you wanted to go and pick up pizza, even better, really, because that's not a good idea.
And some of the other topics we're working on for next year would be also around sound in XR, and game development in XR coming up. So we're working on different sort of sound spatial awareness as well. So keep posted with our events.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Maria. And yeah, so what I'm really interested in is studying prehistory and keeping up to date with what's going on around the world. So what I'm doing is I'm travelling around, I'm reading academic papers and journals around archaeology and discoveries. I'm not an archaeologist myself, but you know, it is a favourite pastime for me. I'm looking to create XR with co-creation to capture the past and use my research for the public to come and see these experiences. This is why I'm really interested in these other technologies, drones, virtual reality, augmented reality, video game technology, AI, which Iris is going to talk about in a bit. Has everyone used virtual realities? I'm going to show a hands if you haven't used virtual reality. So we've only got a few people, so people using these new technologies now, so everyone knows what these acronyms mean, right? VR, AR, so virtual reality, augmented reality. Great. And then I want to distribute knowledge. I created an app doing my Masters in Immersive Arts called the Megalithic Explorer, going back in time and discovering Neolithic settlements. So it's augmented reality, not virtual reality. That was a bit of a response to the pandemic, so you could use something on your phone to go and see different spaces. So that's what I'm really interested about. That's my sort of goals, if you like. The Megalithic Explorer looks like this. I'm still trying to get some sort of funding to develop this. What I want to do is democratise this further and give access to people around the world to any sort of ancient sites that they want to go and see, really. This is just for your mobile phone. Let's see if it'll play. It won't play a sound for whatever reason. Oh, it will, actually. Give it a moment. It's basically creating portals to the ancient past. There is music that does play, for some reason it's not playing here.
There it is.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's very tiny.
It's weird, isn't it? Let's just
try and... we get an idea.
Yeah. That's annoyed me. That's annoyed me, that though. Because I'm going to need sound anyway. 1 sec. Let me just turn on system sound. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's gone off. Never mind, we'll have to sort that out for the film. So, my friend Reese, who's in the audience, he did the music for that, so it's a shame I can't play the music sound for that. So that's the Megalithic Explorer, exploring Neolithic sites. The reason why I'm a bit obsessed with that technology is because before going to university, I was very privileged, went travelling around the world. Oh, it's broken.
No, it's coming.
There we go. So I got to do really, people keep calling me hippie to do this kind of stuff. I don't know who that is. I suspect she might have been on something. I wasn't. But,
on heritage, obviously.
That's heritage, yeah. Right, so I'm actually going back to Stonehenge this weekend because
be careful with heritage, people.
Machu Picchu, Easter Island, been Cleffy D in North Wales. So this is like the modern stuff that I'm doing as well. But this is what I was really interested in. So I was very privileged. I went to Chile as well. So amazing culture, amazing heritage around the world, and I got to experience some of that. So it's like I'm bringing that into what I'm doing. And I didn't go to university until I'd done those things. So I think that's really important. I am the creative director of AVimmerse. I've created over 50 virtual reality, augmented reality and film projects since 2015, ranging from virtual reality training, augmented reality apps, to healthcare training, landmine detection, games, and all sorts of crazy other things. I've trained hundreds of people how to use immersive technology, and that's what I want to do as well. I want to give that information and knowledge back. These are some of the things I've made. Worked with organisations like Salford Lads Club, worked with Liverpool Royal, worked with quite a few of you in the audience actually, Marizu, Paul, and Maria, Pete at the back I've worked with for years, Mark Smith, if you're still here somewhere in the audience, Josh, who's worked for me for a number of years, so thanks for Dan, who've worked with at the University of Manchester, so quite a few of you in the audience, Laura as well, that have actually, we've collaborated on. The most recent one was Hull Truck VR, making a VR experience for people who are going to drown. That's us, by the way. That's the UK, so this is the climate disaster that we're facing. Technology-wise, these kind of technologies I'm using, I've mentioned some of them, drones, VR, AR, film, 360 cameras. That's what I got started out with, what Caroline, who's 38, was talking about 360 cameras. So you don't necessarily need to use complicated technology to get involved in this stuff. 3D scanning, 3D modelling, Unity game engine, right? I mean, that's better than Unreal, isn't it?
Ooh,
sorry,
it's controversial right now.
So who's an Unity person? We've got a few. Okay, yes. Who's using Unreal? Can you leave? No, so yeah, it doesn't really matter which one you're using. The point is, The different game engines are interchangeable, they'll do different things. I'm an advocate of Unity because I've been using it for so long, but Unreal has certain advantages like metahumans, virtual production, these kind of things. What Juan's doing and Caroline doing in Media City is amazing with this technology. So it's just different horses for courses, really, and they just do different things. And these are just some of the stills from. I was going to put a video together, but I don't really have time. But I just thought I'd put some of these visuals together. Working for Contact Theatre, making a computer game for them. That's the bottom right Eli character. Some of the people in this room, Kobe, where are you, Kobe? Are you at the back there? She was the amazing Unity developer, worked on this project, the kind of weird lady spitting water there. These are 3D scans, drones as well. I'm always flying a drone. I'm going to go flying drones tomorrow, which is great. So these are kind of the visual stuff. Top right, virtual reality simulations. But first and foremost, I am an artist. I'm very privileged to work with some leading institutions in the UK. So the University of Manchester, I've had an ongoing relationship with them for about 3.5 years now. I met John earlier this year, and I was like, walking down this corridor, I was like, who's doing this amazing stuff? Look at all these stone circles, I need to know about this. I got an introduction to John. 5 minutes, yeah. I got an introduction to John, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. I also mentor people, and like I said, taught quite a few people as well. I want to democratise history. I want to make sure that we can connect people to their local heritage. I think that's really, really important because there's so much in the UK. I've been privileged to go around the world, and I tell you now, the UK, there's so many layers of history in this place. It's just unbelievable. And I think once people learn about their own history, it sort of empowers them. It makes them care again about where they live. And I think we've lost some of that, I would argue, the caring. Like, there's something we need to give back. And I do genuinely think we can improve our social connection well-being. I know those are words, it's easier said than done, right? But we can with heritage. Like I said, I started in 2015 working with Pete Woodbridge on the Beacons for Science project. He's at the back. Then I worked with the BBC R&D on their editing. I'm not going to not mention London Road Fire Station because I got some really great feedback from that. That was an interactive documentary, a huge project. It was fortunate to get into the Manchester Histories and Manchester Science Festival. I was thrilled about this. These are people using it. This was at the Holding Gallery, the top left image there, and then it toured around Manchester as well. I was very, very fortunate with that. I work with Ludus Dance in Lancaster. I think they've struggled during COVID, unfortunately, and they wanted to make a VR experience celebrating the 100 years of the suffrage movement. I helped them make that a reality. This is what I'm really excited about, this augmented reality. So then the client approached me in 2019, 2020. They wanted to make an immersive map where you could actually have all these heritage experiences. Through my team, I was able to create 27 different heritage experiences, which was mental to do this project. But the technology didn't exist yet, where they wanted to, say, walk over here around Salford and something appear. That technology didn't exist yet, but it's kind of existing now. And this is where it gets really, really exciting. It is on the Android and iOS store, the Carbon Landscape Augmented Reality Experience. It's free, or CLAR for short. I'm just going to mention some research that I've been doing. I worked with an artist called Joe Duffy from Manchester Metropolitan University. He used to be my tutor as well. Went over to Ireland. I've been to Ireland now about 3-4 times in the last 3 years. It's an amazing place. If you want to learn about ancient history and heritage, unbelievable. And there's still stuff there that's just off the charts. We made a VR experience. We were flying drones, using 360 cameras, sound kit, this kind of stuff. More recently, I've been working with Rochdale Fire Museum to create what's called the virtual museum. This, again, is trying to connect to those audiences, engaging younger people, recreating the 1968 control room, which is the image on the top left and middle, and giving a voice to the women that used to work in the control room, right? These are the people that were in control of accidents across an area of Manchester, often not recognised for that. I mean, stress, and when you hear some of these calls back, it's quite harrowing. We created VR experience, we used 3D modelling, created an augmented reality. That's launching in February. Briefly, I want to mention some of my recent endeavours with mapping and using XR technology. So I've started to use a program called QGIS, or Geographical Information Systems, to create visualizations of the topology, which is maybe a nice interlude to Iris perhaps. I think that's really interesting once we start combining that with drones and storytelling, so we can start to go to these places, because what's going on now is we're having this real convergence with technology. These are just storytelling tools, right? But there's so much going on. It's hard to keep. This is not, this is an exhaustive list. There's loads of other things going on. But these are some of the things that are coming online, and we can actually start to use them. Some of it might seem a bit scary, particularly AI, if you listen to the news and just tell you all the crazy things. But what can be done with Iris, again, is going to talk about in a moment, is the ability to see into the past and be able to experience things in a new and interesting way. Where this is all going is we're going to start to have these immersive maps come online. So we're going to have Google's creating the infrastructure now, right? So have you heard about Google's? Have anyone heard about Google's immersive maps? A few of you. So this is going to be huge. It's probably akin to the fact that you've got a sat nav on your phone by Google. They're allowing you to program into their immersive system now. This is the precursor to what's basically going to change from augmented reality, Pokemon Go, to mixed reality experiences, and heritage is a ripe and amazing opportunity. In the next 5 years, sorry, blinding, isn't it? I'll keep you awake. I'm going to sleep for a week now. So the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a massive growth in this area if we don't all kill ourselves by climate change, right? Maybe it'll happen, who knows? But the technology is becoming cheaper. It's becoming more proliferated because heritage experiences are really going to explode, I think. There's an opportunity there. I would just ask you, if you've got a mobile phone, maybe you have. If you wouldn't mind just doing a quick poll on this QR code for me, and then I'm going to wrap up in one more slide. So if you don't mind just doing a poll for me, I'm just interested in what you want to learn about. I'm going to try and do some workshops in New Year, so it'd be good to understand what people, for myself really, what you want to learn about. So if you don't mind doing that, you're all doing the QR code. Thank you, that's very kind. And then lastly, we're going to show the Arthur Stone film after the Q&A. And then if you do want to get in touch with me, that's who I am. Again, Keith Myers.
Is that you?
It is definitely me, but I've not got that pose. If you do want to get in touch with me, please do feel free to reach out. I want to work with people creating more immersive experiences. Thank you very much for this.
Brilliant, thank you,
Thanks so much, Keith. What a whirlwind of amazing. You've seen it all. So, fun fact, actually, you mentioned Pokemon. Pokemon actually came from a lot of heritage projects initially. They'd scanned a lot of graveyards and monuments, and then that wasn't really making a lot of money for the company, so they decided to use Pokemon. But what they found was a lot of people then were gathering in sort of sacred places, and they really hadn't necessarily been sensitive to that as well. So just another thing to think about with these technologies as well is how people might use them if we put them out to the world, and there needs to be some sensitivity around that.